Hey guys, it's your boy, Ballface8020, back again with another great commentary. Casey released a video, I think today, talking about something like how to tell if you're being played by a woman or something. I don't know. But the main thing he was getting at in the video was this, focusing on the whole concept of women who will be in a relationship with a guy, but then they're still simp farming on the side. They may not be cheating on him, and they may or may not be cheating on him, but they're also got talking to guys in their DMs. They probably still have their or they may still have their dating apps and stuff like that. Not to mention like all the emotional affairs they're having at work and stuff. And then Casey goes into like his own Evopsych version of what causes that, and I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really paying that much attention to it, but maybe there was maybe there was something to it, maybe there wasn't. I don't know. I'm not really here to beat on Casey tonight, because this is something like a lot of Manospherians talk about, and it's very definitely a real phenomena. Women who are in relationships, they're happy with them. The relationships are good as far as, and yet they're still looking elsewhere. Maybe it's not super active, but they absolutely do. They have backup plans, and maybe multiple backup plans. So why do they do this? What is this about? And I'm thinking about it, and I think the first thing that comes to mind is like, well, men don't do the same thing because they can't. It's like, like pretty much every woman's got like tons of other options out there. And if a man is not Chad, he really doesn't. I'm not saying that he can't get anybody, but it's not easy. Like it's not like they're like he's not going to have 10 women in his DMs, simping for him, after just because he's in a relationship or whatever. Not if he's not Chad or doesn't have status, Whereas just a regular woman, even a noticeably below average woman, even a way below average woman, is always going to have a lot of guys trying to get her. They may not be guys she's interested in, but so I think that's what most people would say the difference is, or why it's so different. And again, I think there's something to that, but I don't think it's the whole story. I think that a lot of guys really are looking elsewhere. You guys in relationships really are looking elsewhere. It's just that when they're doing it, it's just for like a hookup. They're not looking to keep their options open for a different relationship. If a guy's in a relationship where he's satisfied, that's it's kind of it. He doesn't really. He wants to keep that relationship going, and usually they're not looking for a relationship upgrade. If they're looking again, and this isn't a moral thing or anything like that. I'm not, I'm just saying that the guy is generally not looking for a relationship upgrade. He's just looking to get with other girls just because, men like variety. And whereas I'm not saying women don't like variety too, but it does seem like a lot of, I would say most women don't seem really interested in sex without an emotional component, unless it's like a turbo Chad. And even then, it's more about what the mood she's in, as opposed to guys who like essentially are essentially always in the mood, and it's a priority, Whereas fucking some rando. I'm not saying women won't do that, but they may be in the mood for that a few times a year. Guys are in the mood for that, from the time we wake up in the morning. Speaking in generalities for both genders there. So I think that's kind of the difference. But another thing is, I think when you actually boil it down, like actually get into like understanding like what's going on here, I don't think this whole issue is a woman thing as much as it is a people thing. Because, there's definitely cases where people with, jobs that they're very happy with and that they just have no interest in leaving whatsoever are going and, browsing the job boards to see what's out there. and sometimes even going and applying. Even they'll apply for jobs that they know they would never take. And not just like it's like a salary negotiation tactic. It's just something they do. And I think what's something that's really common, especially for guys into their 30s and 40s and older, is they've got a house they're living at, which they like. And I'm talking about for guys who are homeowners. And then they'll go on Zillow. Saturday Night Live even had a skit about it, and just kind of like look at houses and being like, oh yeah, I could get that house. And like they would never do it. They would never actually move there. Their houses, they're totally happy with the house they do. It's just kind of like something fun that they like to see their options out there. So I think that when women are, shopping or looking at other guys in relationships, I mean, I think there's multiple things going on. And I think what, stuff about Casey was saying stuff, mainly it's about need for security to know there's other options and a need for validation. I'm not saying that those aren't a big part of it. They may be the major part of it. They may be the biggest part of it. But also, I think it's really just a human nature thing where, like people just want to have to see what's out there. It doesn't matter how good what you have is. It's always just, there's always this kind of interest in seeing what else is available. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the impulse. I think it comes from a healthy place of, wanting to look for something better, to not just be like, on one hand, they'll say, oh, we should just be satisfied with what you have. It's like, right, but this dissatisfaction, this sort of like perpetual dissatisfaction is what, propels humanity's progress. If everybody was just happy, we could easily at the like early stages of civilization just been happy, with what we had, and just, but it was that dissatisfaction, that always looking for something better that, has brought a lot of like things like we wouldn't be having this conversation now, nobody would have bothered to, people could just be happy just farming and like spending time with their family. Then you never would have had running water, electricity, and phones, and YouTube and stuff like that. So I think there is something to that whole like be happy with what you have. I'm not saying that it's like a totally useless advice, but I'm saying that the dissatisfaction that propels people to look elsewhere, to look for more, it comes from a healthy place, and it has a very real practical benefit for society overall, but also just for the individual. So now, just because the instinct is healthy doesn't mean it can't manifest in unhealthy ways. And I think that the difference, like between, there's nothing unhealthy about, browsing job boards to see what else is out there or looking at homes that you could move into. Whereas if you're in a relationship, looking to see the other options out there is inherently unhealthy because, if like a truly healthy relationship means you're committed 100%, and if you're in like you don't have to have that level of commitment to your home or to your job. Okay, you can have a great relationship, for lack of a better word, with your home or your job, and it could be working really well for you without you having like that permanent, like super like life commitment to it. In fact, you shouldn't have that commitment to it. That's fucked up, to either of those things, especially your job. But that's a relationship is something different. So like this normally healthy or at least natural instinct becomes manifests itself in an unhealthy way when it happens in the context of a relationship. When you're in a relationship, it is damaging to the relationship if you're of like just saying, well, like, look, I'm happy in this relationship, I would never leave, I have no interest in leaving, but I just want to see what's out there. No, what's out? No. If you're in the relationship, you're got to be in all the way. And if you're not in all the way, you're damaging the relationship. I'm not saying it's like a deal breaker or it's the worst thing in the world, but it is bad for the relationship if you're doing that. I can understand why women do it, but I don't think, it's bad for the relationship. So that's like, it depends on how much you value it, and it may be something that that is like the given relationship may be something that you don't value that much, in which case it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think there's maybe ethical questions if it's something that the guy's not okay with. Um, but in terms, I mean, like if you don't really value the relationship that much, don't worry about it. But if it is something like if she's with the guy and she really does want it to work out, and wants to build a life with this guy, or to continue a life with this guy, she just shouldn't be doing it. She shouldn't be. She's looking at it, because the thing is, it's like, and it doesn't necessarily mean like, because you could say like even the fact that she's looking indicates some type of dissatisfaction with the relationship. You can have a good relationship and still have dissatisfaction with it. That's like, I don't think you necessarily have to have 100% satisfaction with the relationship. That's not important. I don't think that that's a problem. But you do need 100% commitment to making it work. And that means you're all the way in. And part of being all the way in means you're not entertaining other options. You're not, not just like, not even thinking about it. If the thought crosses your mind, that's one thing. But you're not actually actively talking to guys in your DMs, or, thinking like, actually like, deliberately putting thought into, well, if this doesn't work out, what's my backup, or what other options do I have? Something like that. Like, I mean, you may think about, I'm not saying don't have a backup plan in your life, about like what happens to do. I mean, that's just being prudent. But like in terms of a relationship backup, no, that's bad for you. And it's you're not giving the relationship the commitment that it needs to create an optimal chance for the relationship to be successful or to be maintained. That's all for now. See you in the next.